This is The Blockchain Show, episode 180, with JellySwap. It's a DEX, but not a usual one. It works on several different blockchains and aims to solve the interoperability issues between the different networks.
The Blockchain Show is a podcast that demystifies cryptocurrencies and distributed ledger technology.
Hello, welcome back. You're listening to The Blockchain Show. I'm your host, Ethan Kinderknecht. And today I've got two guests from across the ocean, the guys from JellySwap. I'll be talking with the CEO, Tito Titov, and the CTO, Krasimir Raykov. Gentlemen, welcome to The Blockchain Show. How are you?
We are fine, Ethan. Thank you for inviting us here and sharing some thoughts about blockchain and some other cool stuff.
It's a pleasure to be with you this evening.
Absolutely. Yeah, pleasure here as well. So I know that we're going to be talking about JellySwap and, DEX and how it's not a usual one. But before we get down that path, why don't you guys tell me a little bit more about yourselves and how you got to be involved with the blockchain?
Yeah, sure, Ethan. Maybe I can start, and after that could be Krasi. So, but basically we have a common destiny, so it will be almost the same story. We were colleagues in the university and we were studying computer science in one of the technical universities in Bulgaria, which is in Southeast Europe. And in the beginning of 2017, we just started buying some crypto, trading a little bit. Then we started developing some smart contracts and some other DApps on top of it. And after that, we created a few versions of decentralized exchanges and some other apps. And after that, we decided that we can just connect all the networks, not only ETH, but ETH to BTC to the other networks. And yeah, basically, this is briefly about me. And yeah, Krasi can introduce himself as well.
Yeah, so my name is Krasi. I was born in Bulgaria, which is, as Tito mentioned, is a small country in Southeastern Europe. I have a software engineering background for almost 8 years now. Previously, I've been working in a big corporation where we have building software for cars. I've been introduced to blockchain in the late 2016 and I was instantly hooked. So right after that, I left my job and we started researching and building stuff, as Tito mentioned. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Awesome. Yeah, I love to hear how you got involved. It's always kind of an interesting thing for me because I know that, especially in different parts of the world, people have different introductions, but it all seems to kind of center around cryptocurrency, and we've all seen how that has changed in the last few years. Why don't you guys tell us about JellySwap, what it is and how you guys came to create it?
Okay. Maybe I can start with some non-technical stuff and then Krasi can go deeply into the tech. But in simple words, JellySwap is like Uniswap, but not only for it, but for all other networks. We are trying to integrate as many blockchains as possible. And at the end of the day, users will be able to swap ETH for BTC. Now we are integrating One and Harmony. We have also integrated Eternity. We are striving for Litecoin, Neo. And the idea is that at some point you'll be able to swap ETH for any other token and vice versa in fully decentralized and secure manner. So yeah, like I said, it is like Uniswap 2.0, but the real 2.0 version, not only ETH and TRC tokens. And the other cool thing is that as long as everything is decentralized, everyone can participate in the protocol, not only as end user, but as liquidity provider as well. So you can imagine that even right now, you can provide liquidity on Bitcoin and ETH, not only hold them, and you can start earning some profit from them and from the trading fees. And as well, we have some incentivized market making program. So this is the game changer that we support many blockchains. We have similar features like all Ethereum dApps, but it is more multi-chain oriented. And yeah, Kras, maybe you can add something more interesting about the tech end. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that after a short observation of the cryptocurrency world, everyone can conclude that the community is highly splitted. So you have these Bitcoin maximalists, you have the Ethereum maximalists, and you have everyone else. And we've been asked from day one, why do you guys support only Ethereum? Why don't you support the other networks? And actually, we came up with the idea about Jelly. And Jelly is based on atomic swaps, which is nothing new. This is a concept introduced in 2013. And this concept actually finds a solution to the interoperability problem between the different coins and blockchains. And the end goal is to make them interchangeable. So as Tito said, everyone is able to swap the real BTC, not a tokenized one, to Ethereum, to Ether, and vice versa. So the only thing that you need to do is to connect your wallets to the application. So you have to connect two type of wallets, one for the Bitcoin network and one for the Ethereum network. Once you connect your wallets, you can do the swap pretty much as easy as you do that in Uniswap.
That's fascinating. Something that has always been really particularly interesting to me, especially since the early days, was how can these cryptocurrencies not necessarily compete with each other, but how can somebody start in one cryptocurrency and trade it in for another, or how can their store of value live on in different forms? Like in the traditional world, you can trade currencies. When you go to a different country, there's a little kiosk and you pay a small fee and then you get the new currency. And when I was a kid, I always was kind of, the saying, all roads lead to Rome. Well, Rome was an ocean away, but we had New York City. So I was like, oh, well, this little road in Kansas can take me to New York City if I just know how to get there. So I'm really...
Yeah, so you found your solution, in Jelly.
Yeah. I guess my question is how difficult is it on the back end to start in one cryptocurrency, use JellySwap to transfer it into something else? Is it just a matter of coding, or do you have to be like in constant contact with these different blockchain companies to make it work?
Basically, it's just coding. I mean, as long as the network is decentralized, permissionless, you can just plug in and start developing on top of it. Just like we did with Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Eternity, and just like we are going to do now with Harmony, Avalanche, and much more in the future, I hope.
Yeah, basically that's the cool thing. Like now everyone is talking about DeFi and how it has many different building blocks, and you can imagine that in JellySwap we move the concept one level higher. So we are not just looking at Ethereum dApps as building blocks, but we are looking at the different blockchains as building blocks. So we can plug Bitcoin, ETH, Litecoin, Harmony, and many other blockchains and make them work together. Again, without intermediary, without any custodials, and in fully transparent manner.
Yeah, actually, you can swap BTC for it with a lot of applications already, but all of them require some form of registration, KYC, and the process is like extremely long and it takes a lot of time to do it. While with Jelly, because we don't possess at any point the user funds, we don't need to require a KYC or registration. The user just needs to plug in his or her wallet and initiate the trade. And the trade happens wallet to wallet without any intermediates.
I know that there's been a few other projects that have tried this, a few unsuccessfully. I guess I'm asking more about the rest of the blockchain ecosystem here. What do you see as this trend moving towards? Do you think we're going to have more and more new cryptocurrencies emerging, or are we going to kind of funnel down to less and less? And are we going to see one emerge as, like the Maximus would like?
I don't believe that we will have only one, but yeah, probably we will have like 20 or 30 which are viable. It will be something like the currency market that we have right now. I mean, of course, we have like 200 countries overall uh, now, and there are only 20 or 30 viable, let's say, currencies, national currencies. So maybe we will see something like that in the cryptocurrency world, because Bitcoin is Bitcoin, it will always be. I believe that we'll have the same thing for Litecoin, probably ETH, and some of the other blockchains which are striving to do something similar to ETH, but they have, for example, lower transaction fees. Some of them are faster, some of them are more secure, some of them are saving your privacy. So yeah, I think that it will be at least 20 or 30 currencies that will continue to be used by more and more users.
Yeah, and if we take into account the current transaction fees and the gas price in Ethereum, I think that we need to realize that this cannot be sustainable, because no one is going to pay $50 for a transaction, in my opinion, unless, you know, um, I mean, the gas prices are currently extremely high, and we see that a lot of projects are trying to move and are trying to have a backup plan if this trend continues. So yeah, I don't think that we'll have one ultimate chain at the end.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good outlook there. And it kind of reminds me of a tweet I saw, I think it was back in March. Let me see if I can find it, by Vitalik. It says, we should put resources toward a proper, trustless, serverless, maximally Uniswap-like UX, ETH to Bitcoin, decentralized exchange. It's embarrassing that we still can't easily move between the two largest crypto ecosystems trustlessly. What did you guys think when you saw that? And does he know about JellySwap yet?
Well, we immediately put it in our pitch deck, that exact tweet. So we completely agree with that statement. And I think we are currently close to provide exactly this. And we are currently providing it, but of course there is a lot of room for improvement too. So yeah.
Yeah, basically, this is like a one-sentence description of JellySwap, in my opinion.
He seems like a pretty interesting fellow.
You're talking about Vitalik?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I met him once. It was like 2 or 3 months ago when I was on the Ethereum community meetup or something like that in France. Yeah, I mean, he's like all the time doing some stuff and researching some new technologies, and he's like that much interested to speak with other people. Maybe he's exhausted a little bit of all this public attention over him. But at the end of the day, he's a super cool geek, and
Yeah, that's what
yeah, I like him. I enjoy what he's doing. Much more better than the Tron guys that are always chilling but doing nothing. But he's the opposite. Most of the time doing some things and trying to solve some world problems rather than chilling and promoting some bullshits here and there.
I get that impression too. It kind of makes me wonder, I don't know, it's just part of the problem of living where I live in the Los Angeles area is a lot of people are just so caught up in, a lot of BS, a lot of just nonsense. But in other parts of the world, I wonder what is it like in regards to cryptocurrency, to blockchain, and just specifically where you guys are at. Do you go to a lot of meetups in your area, and what's kind of the general attitude towards this emerging technology?
I can say that Bulgaria is a small country, but it's pretty active, and we have extremely good software engineers. A lot of big Western companies are opening branches here, even headquarters. And regarding blockchain, we have had at least 10 or 15 big projects in the ICO craze, and some of them are still working. So yeah, we have an active blockchain community, and we have maybe 2 or 3 regular monthly meetups. One of them is even led by me, Krasi, and our friends from Jarvis, and it is especially about DeFi. So it is called DeFi Meetup. And we have another one, which is called Sofia Crypto Meetup, which is based here in the capital of Bulgaria, and many other smaller events that are looking into blockchain and some other technical topics. So yes, I can say that there are active community and blockchain enthusiasts here.
Yeah, that's great to hear. How has the coronavirus pandemic affected what you guys do day to day?
Maybe Krasi can elaborate on that. He's pretty interested in that stuff.
Well, we had an office where everyone was working from there, and I was insisting from day one that we should try work from home. And I was thinking that we will have a better performance while we're at home. And no one agreed with me. But when the coronavirus thing happened, we were forced to do it, so we didn't have a choice. And I think that at the current state, we are still working from home. And I can say that the performance has been wonderful and much, much higher than while we were in the office. I don't know why this happens. Maybe because we are a small team of 5 people. But, I think it's a great opportunity to work from home, to learn to how to manage your own time and be as productive as possible. Because you have time to get to the office, you are distracted all the time by different people. And the only downside, of course, is the social part of this, because while you work from home, the only thing that is missing is the social contact. So
yeah, of course we are devs, but we are still not robots. So from time to time we like to meet and drink some beers and eat some pizza.
Yeah, for sure. I'd love to visit there one of these days. Or years. I don't know.
Yeah, sure. When you're here, just ping us, or we can meet in Singapore as well. We have a headquarters there.
Yeah, that's cool. A lot of companies I talk to have headquarters, or not headquarters, but offices or branches in Singapore. Is that like a global financial center? Or?
Yeah, I believe so. And especially for blockchain, they have pretty good regulations, and taxes are not that high. And of course, it is some secure place where you can go work, even live. And one of the biggest banks have their branches there. And yeah, I could say that Singapore is one of the best business centers in Asia and maybe in the world. It is worldwide the fourth country with the less corruption in the world. Much much better than Bulgaria and even USA.
Yeah, I look at there's a show I watch. It's called Westworld, and they shoot some of the scenes there, and it looks like the future, man. I think it's set in the future, and that's why they chose Singapore. So that's interesting.
Yeah, I think that basically Singapore has a pretty good startup environment, and that's one of the reasons why a lot of startups are opening companies there.
Right, and there's got to be better relations with Asian countries.
Yeah, exactly. The Asian market is huge, and you have a great opportunity to start from there.
Yeah, and when we talk about that, I also believe that Africa will be the next huge market.
That's right.
Because it is getting better and better. Most of the people will have internet connection soon. Most of them are young and interested in tech, so it's just a matter of time. Even Twitter and some other big companies are taking a look into Africa again.
Yeah, something that kind of struck me was in Africa, they're kind of switching directly to mobile because it's a lot easier to set up a mobile tower than it is to wire internet to different communities. And so mobile is going to be a huge part of the next, I don't know what to call it, next generation of blockchain or the next iteration. And I understand that you guys have a mobile wallet is it released yet, or is it going to soon be released?
It's a good place to make some advertise here. So our mobile app will be called Jellyback, like the back where you can store your coins and jellies or whatever you want, collectibles. And it will be released, the first version, in the beginning of August. So it's only a few weeks and we're there. In our opinion, yes, the mobile is the most used case. So everyone should move to mobile and should at least have mobile version. Otherwise, you're cutting big part of the target market.
Yeah, I imagine there's some people that are still, like computer, desktop type, but nowadays you pretty much have to have both.
I totally agree. Yeah.
So aside from just swapping coins, I understand that Jelly enables everybody to provide liquidity and to become market makers, like to earn profit. And I've had this explained to me on several episodes. I'm embarrassed, but I don't really understand how liquidity works with crypto. Would you guys mind explaining to me how you are making it work?
Basically, you have several approaches, one of which is the automated market making, which is similar to what Uniswap is doing. So what Uniswap is doing is basically you have a smart contract where anyone can pool different assets, and based on these pools, the price is calculated. For example, if you want to provide liquidity on the pair ETH DAI, you have to put equal amounts of ETH and DAI into the pool. Let's take for an example. If the current price of ETH is $100, you have to put 100 DAI and 1 ETH in the DAI Ether pool in Uniswap. This means that one ETH is 100 DAI, and everyone can do that. So you have thousands of people who are adding liquidity into the pool, and the price is determined of the ratio DAI ETH. And if someone wants to swap between DAI and ETH, they just take one part of the pool, and this enables a lot of arbitrage opportunities. And basically, Uniswap is it is what it is because of the possibility to make arbitrage. And the other option is what we are currently doing. We have this market making software which is run off chain, and you can. What you need to do is just to install this application on your PC or on a VPN, and you have to connect your wallets to this application, and you can provide only one side of the pair. You don't have to provide, for example, ETH and DAI. You can provide only ETH or only DAI. So once someone creates a swap on the application as a user, what happens is that the liquidity provider is notified, and the liquidity provider application is automatically taking the swap, and it's making the counter swap. The advantage of our solution is that there's the impermanent loss is missing, which is basically that if you want to deposit and provide liquidity in Uniswap, you can end up with fewer ETH and much more DAI at the end, but the dollar value of ETH can be much higher from the day you started, and you end up with less dollars from the beginning. With our solution, you can enable rebalancing by connecting to a centralized exchange. And once someone takes the DAI from you and gives you ETH, you immediately sell the ETH and get your DAI back, and you are left with a small percentage as a profit. So at the end, you'll be left with the same amount of eat and the same amount of die, including the profits.
Yeah, if we can look at that in more philosophical point of view, it is a common business model for all businesses of the future and the things that we see right now. The thing is that we are adding value to the end users and we are giving them some opportunity to make profit for themselves. It is like Uber. I mean, they're giving the opportunity to the drivers to earn some profit for themselves, like Booking, like Airbnb. And here is the same thing. You have some crypto and you want to put them in work and to earn some profit from the trading fees or from some spreads or from some incentivized market making program. And basically that's it. We are giving an opportunity for the end users to make some money for themselves, not only getting everything for the company. And I think that this is the most valuable thing that is bringing blockchain, and this is how decentralized applications should work. They should do something good for the end users. They should give them a way to earn profit and to basically to do everything peer-to-peer, not a centralized entity that is taking all the profit and all the revenue from the whole application. Everything is much more community-oriented, and it is for the good of the people, not only for some company, entity, or whatever you name it.
Well, that's good to hear. Sometimes I imagine what a world would be like when someone can just work and live their lives using cryptocurrencies, but I only know of a handful of people who are able to make that work. A lot of folks end up using, their country's currency at the end of the day. How close do you think we are to a world where individuals will not have to rely on governments and central institutions like banks to have their financial, I don't know what to call it, independence?
I would say 15 to 20 years, maybe.
Yeah, I can't give this kind of predictions, but if I don't want to be too radical, but in my opinion, this is something like a war that we have against the government. It don't have to be that way, but it is, because the main power of the countries and the banks is the fiat currencies and the fact that they control them. But if we have a decentralized currencies that are controlled by the people, and where the taxes are going from one user to another, then most of the countries will lose some of their power and influence. And that's why banks and big governments don't want to allow it. So it will take time, and until we have it like a mainstream.
Well, if Brock Pierce become a US president, it can happen faster, I guess.
Yeah, but I don't know if this will be a good option.
Oh, yeah, I'm not familiar with him. Who is that?
Well, he's basically the founder of Tether and entrepreneur who is invested highly in blockchain projects like EOS and bunch of others. And he's right now a US president candidate. So,
Of course, that's right. We kind of need someone who can disrupt the financial system, but it seems like once a president gets in there, then all of a sudden the controlling powers come out. We don't really know what happens behind closed doors, but it's got to be so difficult to try to deliver the campaign promises once they're in that office and they have all of these, I don't know what to call them, shadowy figures, kind of threatening them or showing them things. I don't know. I'm just speculating.
True that. But here we can see another interesting application of the blockchain, which can be used for governance, because everything there is much more transparent and no one can deceive us. So yeah, maybe in the future we'll have some countries. We should start with some smaller ones, or maybe even some cities that have their governance and voting based on the blockchain. and then everything will be transparent, and we will not have any backdoors or some shadow figures that are controlling the things.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, that's one of the most attractive things about blockchain for me was just there's no borders, there's no there's no inequality. It's just code, and it's just how it's made. It's how people use it, and it's been interesting to watch it evolve over these last 4 or 5 years since we've done the podcast. So we've got just a few minutes left here. I wanted to give you guys opportunity to give us some closing thoughts, and definitely tell us where we can go to learn more and potentially get involved.
I just want to say that if you want to have full control over your cryptocurrencies and sometimes you want to swap from one currency to another, I believe that you should try our app because it is one of the best options that you have right now. And I'm not just saying it because I'm working on it, but I'm also geek, security freak, and I believe that we should have control over our own money. So you can try our app, which is on app.jelly.market. You can go to our landing website, which is jelly.market, or follow us on Twitter. And if you have any questions or whatever, you can ask in our Twitter, Discord channels, or just ping us in our emails whenever. We're always open to help to the others to understand what we are doing and why it is important.
Yeah, that was a good final thoughts. What I can add is that we're trying to be really engaged with our community and get their feedback and work on top of their feedback and deliver everything that they desire. Of course, if it's reasonable and it's along with our beliefs. So don't hesitate to ping us whatever you may want, or you want to give us your feedback or critiques. We're completely open for anything. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, gentlemen, it's been an absolute pleasure talking with you. I appreciate you, doing this conversation after your work day and accommodating the time shift for me. It's always great to learn more about what's going on in that side of the world. So please keep us updated on any new developments. We'll be sure to share them with the audience. I just want to thank you again, and hope you have a good evening.
Yeah, thank you. And we want to thank to all of your community members. Thanks a lot.
Cool, guys.